Right, Group G. God, Group G. This is going to be an interesting one. I can't wait to deal with this. We have Belgium, Egypt, Iran, New Zealand. Let's go through it. Belgium. Probably, you know, we'll go through that in a bit. Belgium have made 13 World Cup appearances, with starting from 1930, one of the only four nations from Europe going down to Uruguay. Their best finish was third place, beating England in the third place playoff back in 2018. They were defeated by France in the semis, but at least they beat England twice because they were in the same group. Um, Belgium won their group with 0 defeats, pretty pretty comfortably in a sense. They had Wales and North Macedonia. They were the only real threats. I can't remember the other two because they were in a 5-team group. I know that, but you know, 0 defeats. Egypt have made 3 World Cup appearances starting from 1934. However, fun fact, they were meant to be in 1930 World Cup, but due to a storm on the Mediterranean, they missed the boat. Oh, that must have been fun. Their highest achievement was getting to the round of 16 in the 1934, but as I've said previously, probably, I don't know, I ain't got a good memory. They start the World Cup in the round of 16. There was no groups. It was the round of 16 immediately because there were only 16 teams. So that doesn't really say much. So looking at the other two, which was 1990 and 2018, where that was their last appearance, they got knocked out in the group stages. So yeah. But to qualify in this group, they won their group in African qualifiers 5 points from Burkina Faso, topping Burkina Faso by 5 points. Okay, next one is Iran, and this script that I wrote, at the time we weren't sure what was going on due to the US and Iran, and the US attacking Iran. So yeah, but Iran are still in the World Cup. They're still going to be playing. Um, so is that something? Uh, they have made it to 6 other World Cups starting in 1978, but have been grouped every single time. Their last tournament in 2022, they came third, losing to both England and to the US, but they did beat Wales 2-0. So that's positive. You could be in absolute shite, but you could still beat Wales. Iran is going to be a very interesting thing to look at in this World Cup, not just because it's the US and games are going to be played in the US, but also their base is in Mexico and they cannot drive into the US. They're going to have to fly to the US to play their group games. And then, literally after the game, they've got to fly all the way back to Mexico. So, although we're not started my predictions, I can't see Iran doing really well because they may be just jet lagged and stuff. I hope they do well, but we don't know. Before we do that, let's look at New Zealand. They have made it to 2 other World Cups in 1982 and 2010, both going out in the group stages. However, in 2010, New Zealand were the only team to not lose a single game in qualifiers. However, never in the World Cup. However, not even going. However, they didn't go to the next round. They just drew every single game. One of them being Italy. Another jab at Italy. New Zealand, however, the only reason why they've only made 2 appearances is that they play in the Oceania qualifiers, which in the past, to go through from Oceania, you have to win your group against any other team and then go into the Interconfederation playoff. Now that this tournament has been broadened up to 48 teams, Oceania now have an automatic spot. And then they also have a second spot, which will then go to Interconfederation playoffs. However, because New Zealand are probably the best in Oceania, this pretty much means that New Zealand will probably be at every single World Cup from now on. I hope not. I hope someone else from Oceania will get through in like the 2030. We never know. Anyway, to go through, they breezed their group, then they battered Fiji 7-0 and beat New Zealand 3-0 in the final.
What?
First game, Belgium versus Egypt. That takes place on Monday at 8 o'clock. I won't be able to watch that, but hopefully I'll be able to listen to it. Unless the timetables change, because if I'm correct, I'm on a 4:10. Okay, Belgium have won 4 of the last 5 and only 1 draw against Mexico. Egypt lost to Brazil 2-1, beat Russia, drew 0 against Spain, which is interesting. 4-0 win over Saudi Arabia and a 0-0 draw against Nigeria. Belgium's group, I think, is easy for them. I think easy, but I think this is the game where they will drop points. I think it'll be a 1-1. I think Egypt is probably one of the only few that could probably really handle them. Especially if Belgium are being cocky. Iran versus New Zealand. Now, remembering about how, this is going to be a pain in the arse for Iran, I'm going to say this game will be a 1-0 win to New Zealand. I think the Iran team may be a bit too jet lagged. They may be a bit too knackered. I think New Zealand's Chris Wood goal will get them through. Belgium v Iran. Sorry, Iran again. This is Belgium. They'll realise what they were doing and will batter you. 3-0. New Zealand versus Egypt. Egypt win 2-0. I feel this is easy. I didn't mention. Sometimes I forget. Iran versus New Zealand. Anyone wondering what time that is? That's a 2 o'clock morning on Tuesday. Iran versus New Zealand. I mean, it says it there. It says 3 o'clock, but it's 2 o'clock. I don't know if it's the wrong standard time or it's from like this predictor's thinking I'm in France for some reason or something. I don't know. Okay. New Zealand versus Belgium. Again. Belgium won't take any chances. It'll be a battering. Egypt will beat Iran by 2. But I think Iran will score 1 goal. So in this, I have Belgium to top the group, Egypt to come second, New Zealand in third, Iran in fourth. And with that, that is Group G. How fun. Group G, done. Now we're on Group H. What have we got? H, I, J, K, L. 5 more. So I've got 6 more videos to do because I've got to do the knockouts.